Right, so this is a feedback for the press on the floor during the Turkish get-up. When you're pressing, you're letting the shoulder blade get off the spine. So shoulder blade should have been really deep into the floor. But when you press it, you keep pressing towards the ceiling, and then you get this disconnected angle here. Think about doing a squat from the floor. The floor is solid, so you have a solid foundation from which you can push off to get up from the squat. Think about your shoulder blade being the foundation in which you want to push off. If you were to do a squat on the physio ball, it's unstable. So you have less control of your body. So now it's more balance versus actual strength, right? So if you're pushing away, don't let your foundation get off the ground, right? So what you're looking for is to try to bring the shoulder blades together, so towards each other, but also across towards the opposite hip. If you do that correctly, what you feel is as your shoulder blades go down towards each other, your sternum, the tip of your sternum at the top, is trying to touch your chin, like this. You should also feel like your clavicles are getting longer. If you think about the clavicle goes from here to here, you wanna push this end towards the wall, to the sides, but slightly behind. Imagine you wanna separate the clavicle from the sternum. You wanna separate them here and here. So at the same time you bring the shoulder blades together and down, you want to feel the clavicles getting longer to the sides and back, and then this tip here is trying to touch your chin. Now the sternum is a long bone here. You don't want to lift this point here. If you start lifting this point, what's happening is you're overextending your lumbar spine. Over time, that's not gonna be a good idea. So you're trying to push this tip up, but you wanna keep this one down. So you still need your abs to connect the bottom inferior border of that sternum to your pubic bone. Your abs are responsible for that. A lot of details, but that's what we call this skill practice. You practice every day with that in mind. That's why we make these videos, so you can review them as many times as you need to, okay? On the back, you're trying to accomplish sort of this motion. So your shoulder blades come together and down, together and down, okay? So now we get into the roll to press. When it's time to press, think about having two, so you have a power source on the elbow, but it has two directions. So you're shooting towards the ceiling through your wrist into the kettlebell handle towards the ceiling, and at the same time you're pushing through the upper arm into the floor. So you're pushing both at the same time. For every inch that you press towards the ceiling, you push that shoulder blade more into the ground, like I just showed you here, towards the opposite hip. Let's try. So the first thing to do is get in the right position. If you start with your elbow in the front, when you roll, your elbows are already far away from you, or you get predisposed to be already off position. What I suggest to do is to lie on your upper arm. So when you're on the side, your upper arm is straight to your body, it's not in front. Not pass back either, just straight with your body. Notice my ear, shoulder, and elbow. So you lie on it. When I roll, the elbow is gonna be on my side, very tight to me. There are 90 degrees on my elbow, and is a straight line of my forearm towards my body. Right. So you place your hand on the handle, and make sure that you're lying tight on that upper arm. And then when you rotate, you pull the handle towards your belly button. Once you get to this position, you have a 90 degrees at the elbow. If the setup and your shoulder blade does not feel right, then you reset here. Bring the shoulder blade down, elbow down, And then find that position with practice when you were kneeling or sitting. From here, you're gonna breathe into your stomach. The air goes into your stomach. If it goes to your chest and your head, you're likely to get dizzy. Breathe in here. When you breathe out, press the handle towards the ceiling, slightly towards the knee. Press the shoulder blade into the ground. It helps is at the same time you push the shoulder blade into the ground, you also push with this heel into the ground. What that's gonna do is that's gonna fire the glutes. You wanna contract the glutes on that side, also on the other side, your lats and your glutes connect on opposite sides. So at the same time I'm pushing my shoulder blade into the ground, I'm pushing with this foot into the ground as well. That also provides me with more strength for the press. Breathe into the stomach. When it's time to roll back down to the side, use two hands. It's worth taking the time. Two hands. Pull the kettlebell towards the belly button and the belly button towards the kettlebell. So the kettlebell stays close to you until you find the floor safely. This hand is doing a lot of work, supporting the kettlebell close to you. Now I landed on my side and I did not hurt myself. All right, so that is just a feedback for the press that happens after the roll in the first step of the Turkish Get-Up. Practice, let me know how that goes.